the controversial Constitution Amendment Bill to be sent back to the Senate. Former Prime Minister Owen Arthur conferred with a professorship, and the local high-end bakery closes its doors.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you with the Monday, November 12th edition of the CBC Evening News. I'm Ryan Broom, and our top story. Another attempt will be made to get the mandatory death penalty lifted from the island's law books. Attorney General Dale Marshall says the Constitution Amendment Bill will be sent back to the Senate soon. It was only last week the legislation was debated in the upper house, but it failed to secure the required two-thirds majority to have it removed. The Attorney General adds this has placed the local judicial system in limbo.
As it stands today, if an accused person were convicted of murder, a judge would be unable to impose any sentence at all. And the reason for that is because our statute says that upon conviction for murder, you shall be sentenced to death. But the Caribbean Court of Justice has said that that very statute, that very section of our law is unconstitutional. So a judge really, he can't impose what the law says he should impose, but equally, that's the only thing that he can impose, and that's why it's so important for us to pass this suite of legislation.
And Mr. Marshall says he's troubled by the development, and he adds that the proposed legislation should not be seen as political in nature.
It is absurd that a person can proceed with a murder trial, possibly be found guilty, but then he has to wait until a parliamentary process is recommenced so that a judge has the tools that he needs to sentence him. It's a most unsatisfactory state of affairs. I'm actually embarrassed that we're in this position because I don't think that on matters like this there's any political gain.
Housing solutions are on the cards for St. Joseph residents. Parliamentary Representative Dale Marshall says this is necessary as many are forced to leave the parish in search of homes. He was speaking following a tablet presentation ceremony by the Aaron and Christina Foundation for Class 3 students of St. Joseph Primary Schools.
I'm really distressed that so many of my young constituents with young families have to move out of St. Joseph. The Naval Stringberry here, they want to stay here. But because housing opportunities are not readily available, it's a problem. And it's not that there isn't land, it's that the slippage continues to be an issue, and therefore housing opportunities that should be available to them that were available to their parents and their foreparents are not readily achievable. But I think that we can get housing back in the Scotland district as long as we do it in a way that's sensible and sustainable.
And Mr. Marshall adds that the infrastructural upgrades such as roads will also be addressed.
Our challenge right now is that we are facing a difficult economic situation. If I had to ask my constituents just to bear with us, we're going to get out of it. But the immediate relief that we had all hoped for is just not going to be possible. MTW is trying to get new equipment, but even when they get that new equipment, it literally has to be deployed across all of Barbados.
News now, a local hotelier is calling for the removal of all taxes associated with regional travel. Owner of the Soco Hotel, Ralph Taylor, says the average cost of a ticket for a 30-minute flight from Barbados to the Eastern Caribbean is between $250 and $500 US, more than 50% of which goes to regional governments.
It is a damper on regional travel when competitive pricing to Miami, New York, and the like is at a competitive price to buy a ticket to St. Lucia. Government should waive all taxes in regional travel in the interest of the big picture. Barbados has 660,000 visitors in 2017. Of these 660,000 visitors, 103,000 came from the Caribbean. I would suggest to you that if we had good regional airlift, that the largest single market to Barbados would be regional people.
Now, Mr. Taylor also believes there are significant benefits of having a regional carrier which flies to international destinations, among them competitive pricing, which will encourage tourists to take dual destination holidays.
You can't book from London to go to Barbados and then to St. Lucia and St. Vincent, not unless you have a week. There's so much time in changing the planes. There's a lot of add-on to the tickets. And that is unlike what happens if you try to fly across international, if you use an international carrier. If you want to fly all over the United States and then go into Canada and so on, you can book American Airlines or any one of these carriers and you just take it. And it doesn't significantly change the price of your ticket.
A local businessman has put a price tag on converting Barbados to 100% renewable energy. Ralph Busy Williams says countries like Barbados have been held hostage by oil producers for decades, and he believes the time has come for us to use our natural resources to power our economies.
$4.49 billion. Now you might think, oh, $1 billion, wow, how will we get that? Point is, it is available. It is available all over the world. You can get it easily, so long as you present a case and you go to the international funding agencies and you tell them, look, this is going to be reducing carbon emissions. This is going to be leading to better health in Barbados, less emissions, and so on. You can raise the money.
Mr. Williams was part of a panel discussion at the University of the West Indies on the topic, Taking the Region Forward, an Alumni Perspective. He says at the current rate, the income that will be generated by selling back to the grid would allow the country to repay the startup capital in less than 10 years.
They're buying power from us at 41.6 cents per kilowatt hour, and the Light and Power is selling us back the same power at 50.3 cents. Now, I have nothing bad to say about the Light and Power, first-class utility, but these are the facts. So at the 41.6 cents, you can repay that loan in between 7 to 10 years, because the output, the sun's output is very, very, very reliable, and the output of photovoltaics is very reliable. If you throw in wind and so on, you have an even better system.
Former Prime Minister of Barbados, Owen Arthur, has been conferred with the title of Professor of Practice, Economics of Development by the University of the West Indies, Cafil campus. The announcement was made during a symposium hosted by the 70th Anniversary Committee entitled Taking the Region Forward, an Alumni Perspective. During the event, Professor Arthur described the regional institution as the greatest single accomplishment of the people of the Caribbean.
As an investment, it has thus far yielded significant returns to the region in the form of the contribution of its graduates and the deployment of its institutional capacity have made to the upliftment and the transformation of what is still the world's smallest and the world's most vulnerable region. It can, however, be asserted that the future of the UWI, both as a regional institution and as a premier center of learning, that the future of the university is not what it used to be.
And commenting on the funding of the university, Professor Arthur says this will be critical in how the tertiary level institution goes forward. He says Cafil must be part of a smart city and also have a science park.
This problem has been magnified with the consideration that in relative terms, the Caribbean region depends more on the quality of its human capital for growth and development than any other group of nations. The funding for UWI has therefore to be approached with an appreciation of the fact that the region has not yet succeeded in laying the strongest possible foundations for its sustained and sustainable development.
Meanwhile, the University of the West Indies has been cautioned not to lose sight of its primary responsibility. Former Chancellor Sir George Alleyne says he's in no way suggesting the university should not engage in other activities, but he insists the university must not stray away from its mandate of developing human capital.
Whatever the university's other functions are, guarding the morals of society, being a home for the unorthodox, diffusing its light globally, its fundamental and primordial function has to be in training the young and providing them with the information which they internalize to form wisdom and inculcating the critical thinking that will allow them to adapt in an ever-changing world.
Some celebration news now. Madeline Merville Holder brought up her century in fine style yesterday with a birthday celebration befitting her platinum year. The island's newest centenarian, who spent 27 years living in England, received greetings from family and friends while sipping on some birthday champagne with Governor General Dame Sandra Mason. In fact, Miss Holder showed that age was only a number as she rolled back the years and got down to some live tuck band music. Her daughter, Judy Holder, says the mother of 7 is a happy woman and a hearty eater.
She's jovial, she likes the music, she likes to eat, she loves cocoa, anything mash. She likes cream potato, she likes yam, cassava, don't give her rice. She don't eat it, she does not eat it, she's not a fancy person of rice. She likes cocoa, she likes soup, she has sweet mouth, she likes cake, and she loves to dance. She loves dancing. She's a very loving mother, very loving, caring mother. She has, and the oldest son can't do nothing wrong for her or us.
Born in Westbury Road back in 1918, the former seamstress still plays an active role in the rearing of her huge family.
She raised her sister children, her brother children, nieces, nephews, everybody. The grands, the great-grands, even now the little ones, the great-great-grands, she helped raise. And it's only in 2016 that she had finished traveling. That was the last time she traveled, 2016. But every year she goes up to England to see their children.
And Governor General Dame Sandra Mason says she considers it a special privilege to celebrate with Miss Holder.
It is on the backs of persons like her that we are where we are and what we have achieved. People like Madeline here worked very hard, and she had the 3 things that I was listening to somebody say that we must all have. We must have respect, we must have humility, and we must have gratitude. And it is, if we have all 3 of those, we will reach the milestones that people like Madeline reach.
Police are probing yet another burglary, this time at Zephyr's Bakery on Tudor Bridge. Unconfirmed reports suggest that an armed man entered the establishment and demanded money early this afternoon. Exactly what was taken is not yet known. Now, this is about the 4th burglary at a business establishment in the past several days. Another news is for Barbados as it moves to transform its economy, rests with entrepreneurs. Executive Director of the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, Graham Clark, says the BCSI, as a business support organization, has been facilitating their growth. Mr. Clark was a guest on CBC TV8's program Morning Barbados.
Everybody's not coming to us. Some of these entrepreneurs are going directly to the market, and it is really a positive thing. We still want to know, and that's why we are trying to really track the services, the direction of trade, the value of trade, what is really happening with our service providers. But we believe that all of these community assets, these individuals reside within our communities. And if we are really going to make it big, we have to get out there as well and to identify these entrepreneurs who are doing some great stuff.
Meanwhile, the BCSI, through its Services Weekend, will seek to enhance the knowledge and skills of local stakeholders within the service industries of our economy. Services Weekend gets underway Friday with a BIM Tech Digital Forum, and Project Officer Leanna Welch says the forum seeks to sensitize participants about the transformation of Barbadian businesses through the efficient use of technology.
The good thing about this event is that, yes, it's an ICT focus, but we wanted to dive into all sectors, all the services sector. So we focus on digital technologies, but how can it improve businesses across the sector? So it would apply to anybody, accountants, doctors. How would you want your business to be a lot more efficient by using digital technologies is what we're trying to focus on. And also we're going to have a panel discussion on modernizing the public sector, modernizing public goods, so modernizing education and transportation. How exactly do we use technology to cut costs by creating more efficient businesses and making them more competitive?
The Small Business Association sees education as being key to Barbados' development, especially as the island seeks to recover. Chief Executive Officer Senator Lynette Holder says the SBA has been actively involved in the delivery of training over the years. She revealed that since 2009, 1,697 people were trained by the SBA. Senator Holder was speaking during a graduation ceremony for students in its entrepreneurship training series and national vocational qualification in janitorial service.
This average is 188 persons who on an annual basis commit themselves to a program either in QuickBooks, marketing, human resource development strategy, supervisory management, customer service techniques. All of these programs are offered on an annual basis.
Meanwhile, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Senator Dr. Ramel Springer, wants continuous training to be an integral feature of small businesses.
A trained workforce is the only appreciating asset of any firm. I'm going to repeat that. A well-trained workforce is the only appreciating asset of any firm. Small businesses play a unique economic role in Barbados and will become more important as this country moves towards creating opportunities through entrepreneurship. In the present environment, more Barbadians are desirous and are being encouraged to become business owners.
The local 4-H club has now been expanded to involve children under the age of 7. The Maria Holder Nursery School at Sharon now has the honor of being the first school in the country to establish a youth arm of the worldwide organization. Our Sharika Griffith reports.
The 4-H Club is a household name in Barbados. But did you know there's also a youth arm known as the Clover Buds? Through a collaboration between the Lester Vaughan School and the Maria Holder Nursery School at Sharon, Barbados' first Clover Buds organization has been established. The initiative was spearheaded by teacher of the Lester Vaughan School, Stacey Blunt, and her counterpart at the Maria Holder Nursery, Gil Carter. Ms. Blunt says it's all in an effort to foster closer ties between the two schools.
We recently established the 4-H Club, and as part of that program, our students are going to be learning not only about agriculture, but we're also going to be doing cake and pastry making. We're also going to be doing agri-foods processing as well. So we decided to extend that with a youth arm, and we contacted the Barbados 4-H Club and made a suggestion about having a Clover Buds here, and it will be the first Clover Buds organization in Barbados right here at the Maria Holder Nursery School.
She was speaking during an exercise at the nursery school where the little ones got a first-hand lesson in planting from students of the Lester Vaughan School. Principal SHELLEY Boyce welcomes the initiative, as she says children learn better when it's hands-on.
Each day they will observe and they will come back to the classroom and they will draw what they see. So on day 1 you might only see the seedling with two leaves. Day 2, 3, 4 you will see the progression. So they're making graphic notes of their observations and then they're recording on paper, and they're also reporting. They're reporting a verbal report to the class, and that's how their science will be done: the observation, the recording, the note taking.
The Maria Holder Nursery at Sharon was established 7 years ago and caters to children ages 3 and 4. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. St. Albans Primary School was transformed into a science expo of sorts when the students displayed projects for their science fair. The juniors and infant school turned out some dynamic projects which they worked on over the past few weeks. The projects were taken home to be finished, and students expressed their pleasure at working on them with their parents. Science teacher Patterson Rowe told the CBC News the projects focused on recycling and reusing.
The class 1s and the class 2s, they dealt with weather, but even within that, we want to use recyclable products. So as you go through, you will see nothing but recyclable products, and also an emphasis on weather vanes, solar, stuff like that.
So tell me, what was the process like for the kids? This was just strictly at home, or they did some at school?
No. This was incorporated into the syllabus. The syllabus this year dealt with that. So we taught it, let's say, weeks 1 through 5. Then we sent home the letters. parents got involved, let them know the guidelines that they had to work within, and then the projects came in this week and we put this together.
Feedback from the children, lastly, what's it been like? What have they been telling you?
Oh, wonderful. You got to do it every year. It has to be. Parents and the children. It must happen every year.
Meanwhile, the top projects received prizes ranging from gift vouchers and trips on the Atlantis submarine to a dinner for two at Accra Hotel. The local and regional governments are being encouraged to value the contribution of musical artists to the economy. This from senior CBC announcer Anthony Admiral Nelson, who was also the MC at the Soco Goes Gold 2 show and dance held over the past weekend.
While we look at the regional economies and we look for ways of building up the economies and making money, the safest way to do it is through culture. What these guys are doing. The sugar cane is gone. There are lots of things in the Caribbean we can't depend on, but we can depend on one thing, and that's the strong cultural focus we've got in the region. I think Caribbean governments really need to get on board and do something for these guys and help them to live comfortably.
Meanwhile, scores of Barbadians turned out for the show and dance, which was a fundraising effort organized by the Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust. Trinidadian artists David Rudder and Winston Gypsy Peters were among the headline acts for the show, and they were both very happy to play their part to assist the charity.
I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm a Caribbean man, so whenever there's something that I can do to help strengthen the society, I jump at the chance.
We people who can make it and who has made it in some way or the other, and you can give generously, and I do believe in giving because I believe that when I give, more is going to come to me.